Hi, my name's Chanda.
Hi.
I'm going to be interviewing Jill from Penn State Behrend.
Hello, my name's Jill Yamma. I'm the Sports Information Director and Senior Women's Administrator at Penn State Behrend. I started at Behrend. I was a soccer player here. And once I graduated, I didn't know what to do really. I was going to get into coaching, and then an opportunity came open here where I could be an assistant sports information director and get my master's. So I did that. And then from here, I went to Gettysburg to be an assistant because I just felt like I wasn't ready to be like a head SID. And then I went to Ursinus and became their head sports information director. And while at Ursinus, I was able to get them to add an assistant athletic director onto my title for being there for so long, showing that I, can do administrative things. And then from there, I went to Franklin and Marshall, and then to Allegheny, and then I finally, it's come full circle and back where I started. And then when I got here, there was already a SWA, we'll just say SWA to make it shorter for Senior Women Administrator, already in place. And then she had left. And then as simple as it is, Brian, my AD, just said, hey, we're just going to give you the title of Senior Women Administrator. And I said, that would be awesome. So that's kind of how I got to where I am. The role, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in the questions, but the second question, my role as an SWA, kind of what it means right now is that I go with Brian to the NCAA convention, which is in January. I'm on the conference Zoom meetings with our conference commissioner, the assistant, and all the ADs of the conference. They also bring on their senior women's administrators to the Zooms too, so I'm not alone. And I'm kind of like just right now, like the open door for questions for coaches and anything they may need when Brian's not around or Brian's busy or and then I'm just here if Brian needs anything, right? So Brian says, hey, could you help with this? Could you be in charge of the SAC meeting on Sunday if he can't make it, or any little thing that he says, hey, could you step up and do? I do. There's no real specific roles, like on Monday I need to do this, on Tuesday, and it's just being here in support of the coaches, and they know that that's my title. And it doesn't really have to do anything with just specific women, like women coaches and women athletes, but just in general, just being another face, an admin face, and helping coaches that way. So that's kind of my role as a senior women administrator. With being the SID and the SWA, I don't coach any sports, even though I played soccer and I have experience coaching. So I coached through college, and I coached a club team, and I coached a grade school team. And as much as I enjoyed it, I was going to coach in college, and I interviewed at Alfred State, and my emails from the computer I was corresponding with did not get sent. So that kind of shaped my career, because I was planning on being a GA at Alfred State and coaching, and then I probably would be coaching right now. And when I got the email back from the coach that was like, oh, I haven't heard from you, so we filled the position, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then Brian, the AD here now, was here when I was a student and just said, hey, how about you help out the sports information office? So it's just wild how it turned out, that it kind of fell in my lap, and he was gracious to help me, but it's turned into a career. So with that, and having all the experience, and then being the highest, I think SWA is the highest, not highest level, but the longest tenured female coach or admin at the school. That's kind of how you should base who you pick as your SWA. But then I was able to fall into that when one of our coaches, who was the SWA, left the school. So I've been fortunate, and I enjoy the role. I wish I could do more with it, maybe do more diversity and equity things, bring on speakers, or but right now I'm just whatever Brian needs is what I help with. So and what I like best about my job, I like the coaches and the students and the people here. I think that's what keeps me motivated, right? it's helpful that I went to school here, because now I have a lot of pride in what I do, right? So that helps in taking pride in like seeing student athletes excel now, and then being able to like share their story, or in stories and website and social media, I'm able to showcase that. So it really is the people. I mean, I would suggest that, and when I teach that sport management class. So when you ask me what piece of advice would you give college students, I mean, the one thing that they have in this book that I teach is like, there's so many careers in sports, so many. You can go pro, you can go, you can do finances, you could be an accountant, you could be a lawyer and get involved in sports, right? But the one thing they say is like, just know that it's long hours and nights, nights and weekends, which is fine. I have 2 kids, so that can hinder, spending time with them. I did bring my son last night to wrestling, so that was cool that they're getting old enough that they can come. But, just also that there's so many avenues, just, test the waters, right? Get experience in so many different things and figure out what you like, because there are so many ways you could go, right? You could go the broadcasting side, you could do the sport sales side, you could be a sport agent, you could do sport management and be an admin, right? There's so many ways that you could go. So I would just say, as long as you try to figure out, because yes, this job landed in my lap, like being an SID. Would I have picked it? I don't know. Am I good at it? Yes. And that's why I keep doing it. And I do enjoy it. There's some really gruesome, like long days, but I just know that's coming and I'm used to it, right? I'm used to grinding. So you just grind and you just get it done. And that's another thing too, right? In athletics, I think that you need to grind to get to where you want to go, right? There, it's not just going to be like, hey, you can be the athletic director right out of high school or right out of college. Like, it takes a while to get your foot in the door. And sometimes in the class I teach, it says that, you might need to start out as an intern and then just work your way up. And that's how people do it. It's just getting that experience, right? And then making connections. So you're connecting with me right now, like maybe I could help you down the road. And the interviews I did at my class, those alums can help Mercier students like make connections. So I asked them like, hey, did you get that alum's number in case you want to maybe work where they work, or just, ask them for help to get your foot in the door. And most of the group said, yeah, we got their contact. So it's just, it is who you know, but it is who you know, but what you know and where you need to take that information and go with it, right? So knowing who you can trust, who you can use, and just the experience that you gain in college. And then like after, like, it's okay to be an intern. It's okay to, not make a ton of money at first, because it will pay dividends in the end if that's what you want to do. So
I had a question after you just answered the questions. So you would say that like networking would be probably like really important for any sports industry role. So like,
yeah.
you seemed like you did a lot of networking before you went to your position.
Yeah, I mean, so being a student here and knowing Brian helped me, but then when I went to Gettysburg and then I stayed in the same conference. So like I knew that going to Ursinus, I was going to be working with the same people, right? Then Franklin and Marshall's also in the Centennial. So I just stayed in that conference. And then when you're in that conference and you meet other SIDs and then you go to conventions, right? You connect that way. So going to this NCAA convention in January, as the SWA, like I get to reconnect with those people that I met along the way and meet new people, right? So it's just that I would, encourage going to conventions, specifically for whatever you're tailoring your career to. So, there's sports information ones, and then this one in January is like more for administration, which is so great. Like I learned so much. And I get to make those connections, right? And then other people can connect you down the road. And then, I worked for the Bayhawks. I did their stats. So we don't have the team here anymore, but even just through them, I was able to make connections. And then I got flown out to Vegas to help work the summer league, right? So just by working for the Bayhawks, I was able to go out there and get that experience too. So as long as you can branch out, network, get advice, get help. Don't be afraid to reach out. Know who you can go to, right? And who's willing to help. But I feel like I'd be willing to help any student that wants to get their foot in the door, and then just realizing where you want to go. And then, I think it was Jake, who reached out to me to get to you, right? So he was like, hey, I've got the student that, so it really is all about making connections and networking.
So is there like if you'd have to is there any big difference between the athletic director and then the SID? Like, is there a big difference?
Yeah, like Brian runs the department, so he does the budgeting, the transportation, you name it. And the meal money, the scheduling, he makes sure the schedules are, set. He does hotels, he has to manage all the coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
He does manage the student athlete advisory committee. He is the face of our department. So he's got meetings with the chancellor. He's got meetings with those in finance to make sure that our budget's on track. We're building a new building. He's in charge of making sure what goes in there, ordering the equipment, he pretty much does it all. And he's like a game day manager, right? He's around, he's the face, he greets teams, he does kind of everything. For me, I'm more of public relations. So I'm the website, I'm the press releases, I work with him on the Hall of Fame. So we work together on that. There's a committee for that. I'm social media, I'm game day stuff. So I hire the announcers, people to do the clock. I keep in-game stats. I sometimes announce too. I have to make sure I set up the video, right? And either get someone to run it or just make sure it's running. So I'm more of public relations, where he's more on the sport admin side and management. So he's going to manage all the coaches and stuff. So there is a difference, a pretty big difference. My role is completely different, but that SWA title allows us to help each other, right? So if he needs something, then he knows he can rely on me, but I feel like he knows I'm also really busy with sports info, so he doesn't. So sometimes I just have to ask, hey, do you need help? Hey, do you need, what do you need? What do you need? Because he is kind of like a do it all kind of guy, but everyone here is so nice and pitches in. Our assistant coaches have other responsibilities, so they help him too. But it is more public relations versus sport admin.
So then would you say that you enjoy your job? You would say it would be fun. This is your end goal. You think you made it to your end goal, like you said?
Yeah, I always think when people say what do you do for a living? And the best way to describe it is watching sports for a living. Now that's the easy answer, because, I had wrestling last night and it kind of stresses me out because I have to do the live stats. I have to put in what the official's telling me to do. I have to do riding time, right? So I missed one escape point, and then our coach is like, there's 20 seconds more. And I it's stressful, but it's fun, right? Because you're watching the athletes that compete and you just want them to do well. I enjoy the administrative part. I'm very good at multitasking, organizing, getting it done, right? Women get things done, and I'm gonna get it done, and I'll figure out how I'm going to get it done, but I'm gonna get it done in a timely manner, right? So I feel like I wouldn't mind ending my career as a sports information director. I feel I really enjoy it. So this is my first year teaching, and I really enjoy teaching. So I did that to give me another avenue of maybe I should be doing this for a living, or maybe I can still do both. I am teaching in the spring, but I just don't know where that's going to lead me. So, who knows? Hopefully I get good reviews at Mercyhurst, and then maybe something can start up here at Behrend. I've talked with other people here, maybe we can get a sport management program here, right? Because we don't have one. And then maybe I could stay at Behrend and teach, and then maybe just help out in the sports information office, right? So I could be, because right now most colleges are hey, can you help us? Can you help us? People are short, they don't have enough workers. So, I've got asked to work Gannon basketball. I get asked to work Mercyhurst basketball, so I could still do sports info and help others out while I'm doing more administrative things. I don't know where the future takes me. I'm always open to new ideas. But like I said, I do like the administrative side, and I feel like I would do really well if it was given the chance. But it's more than just like, hey, can I be your assistant AD to my boss? Because it's, a money issue, and then replacing me. And then it's trickier in the Penn State system when it comes to hiring. So I love athletics, and it's been a big part of my life. So I can't imagine not staying in it. What role I'm going to play in the future, I don't know. But I think a key to also, if I had to give advice, like do something that makes you happy, right? Like if you're going to work and you're not happy, then, it'll take a toll on you, right? And so, and everyone's going to have good and bad days, right? That's just the nature, because we're dealing with so many outside entities, parents, students, media, right? Coaches, fans. I mean, you got so many people you have to deal with. But yeah, I think in the long run, I would love to do more administrative things if it allows me to.
Thank you so much for answering all my questions and meeting with me today. I learned so much about the SID position. I would love to learn more. And I hope that the internship and everything that we've talked about before works out.
Yeah, thanks for setting this up. It was great meeting you. And I'm glad I could provide some insight. And then hopefully we'll work together next semester and we can kind of like shape what you want to do, if this is where you're meant to be, or if you want to explore something else, that'd be great.